WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A Columbus child is being described as a miracle of recovery after being found lifeless in a pool Saturday. The mother of the 3-year-old says he is now eating, breathing, and talking on his own. She also says the child is still in the intensive care unit but is expected to move to a room. The child reportedly is showing no signs of the incident except for a treatable infection from the water. The accident happened on Springdale Drive in East Columbus just before noon, according to Columbus City spokesman Joe Dillon. Columbus Fire and Rescue and the Columbus Police Department found the child unresponsive and not breathing. Dillon says firefighters took the child to Baptist Golden Triangle by fire truck. After discovering no ambulances from Columbus were available, the child was later taken to the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. Baptist Golden Triangle says it was responding to 7 emergent calls when the little boy fell into the pool this past weekend. In a statement, the hospital says it was, quote, fully staffed to handle our normal volume of 911 calls on Saturday, end quote. The ambulance crews all had patients at that time that required them to be taken to the emergency room. Baptist says there are unfortunately times when emergencies happen when all crews are already responding to other 911 calls. The hospital credited other first responders with providing life-saving care and the 911 system. An ambulance met a Batson Children's Hospital ambulance in Louisville to transport the child because a helicopter was unavailable due to weather. When you call 911, the last thing you expect is for them to tell you there's no one available to help. But nationwide, there is a shortage of healthcare professionals, and that includes EMTs and paramedics. Our Cash Matlock talks with medical professionals about efforts to combat the decline and has more.
Competitive pay, good benefits, and the opportunity to further your education. That's what OCH Regional Medical Center's EMS Director Michael Hunt attributes to his high employment rate.
Usually when you have hospital-based ambulance services, there's more education available, and there's just more resources that we can dip into to keep our skills up and provide the advanced training and knowledge.
He says on a daily basis there are 3 to 4 ambulances on duty for Oktibbeha County, but sometimes even that isn't enough.
I think that happens in every area that you're at. I mean, when you have a bad wreck and it requires 3 ambulances, the important thing with that is to have some type of contingency plan.
Hunt says if an ambulance is not available, it's most likely not a staffing issue. He says EMTs have to transfer psychiatric patients as far as Tennessee, and these transports can happen up to 5 times a week.
One of the major problems we have right now is psychiatric patients. There's just this, we've been overwhelmed with psychiatric transfers, and the problem we have with that is our local places are full.
Instructor Robert Taylor says there is a growing need for more EMTs and paramedics throughout the state. He encourages anyone interested to pursue a career in the field.
It's a great field. You get an opportunity to be that first person in somebody's worst day, to be the one to turn it around. So, I mean, it's really fulfilling work.
Hunt says about 50% of ambulance requests are non-emergency calls, which can tie up an ambulance in the event of a real emergency. The Columbus Louds Convention and Visitors Bureau will run the 2020 pilgrimage. There were lingering questions as to whether the newly formed Preservation Society of Columbus would actually take on that role. Just a few weeks ago, it was voted on to give the Preservation Society the lead on the 80th annual event. The CVB has already spent more than $50,000 in advertising on the pilgrimage and reversed course on today's vote.
The CVB board took action that they would retain the home tours portion of the pilgrimage for 2020, and that's a modification of an action that was taken earlier about how we would allow the Preservation Society to take over the home tours in 2020.
The Preservation Society of Columbus will take over home tours in 2021. It's requesting $140,000, but no vote has been taken on that request. Vice President Mike Pence will visit Mississippi's Gulf Coast to stump for Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves. Before that happens, Reeves is making the rounds across the state. Today, he stopped in Columbus to talk to supporters. Many polls have the race for the governor's mansion between Reeves and Attorney General Jim Hood within 5 points. Now, the candidates are trying to get people to the polls.
They're not going to count how much money you have. They're not going to count how many friends you have. They're just going to count how many people vote for you on next Tuesday night. And while we're in a good spot in this election, it's going to be a close race. Turnout matters. Getting people to go to the polls really matters. For us to be successful, we need a big turnout next Tuesday.
Pence will be in Biloxi on November 4th. Reeves faces Hood in the general election for governor November 5th.
Hey there, I am surrounded by ghosts, goblins, and superheroes. I just saw a big slice of pizza walk by. We are at the Hail or Ween. I think that's what it is. Let's just say we're having a good time here trick-or-treating in Starkville this evening. No weather worries whatsoever. It is a bit gloomy out there. We're going to have your full forecast coming up real quick. If you're heading out this evening to this event or any other event around the region, we were looking at temperatures in the 50s. So a bit of a gloomy night, but no rain, no tricks from Mother Nature tomorrow. Temperatures may be a little bit warmer if we're lucky, upper 60s, lower 70s, maybe a few more breaks in the cloud deck, again, if we're lucky. But we do have more rain on the way, maybe some storms and even some frost concerns later this week. We'll have more of that in your full forecast coming up in just a few more minutes.
Well, the light flickers and then the power goes out. We've all been there, and that's exactly what happened over the weekend for thousands of North Mississippians. Our Stephanie Poole talks with utility workers that worked around the clock to get your lights back on. She joins us in the studio with more. Stephanie?
Yes, Joey, storms left many families in the dark, and utility crews worked overtime to restore power to thousands of homes. This weekend's storm left a maze of broken power lines and poles. That's why homeowners need to be careful, and that's what takes linemen extra time.
People are calling in. They've got trees on their houses, trees on the line, trees in their yard, trees on their vehicle.
General Manager of Natchez Trace Electric Power, Sean Edmondson, says around 7,300 families were without power in his cover area.
The first part of the storm is always hectic because you don't really know where your damage is, so you're all split up and you're sending people everywhere trying to get do a damage assessment.
Then crews worked to get those lines back up and running.
Our men worked very hard and got 7,300 meters back on within 3 days.
Cliff Wall says 4 county crews are facing the same challenges on a larger scale.
It was from Choctaw County to Lowndes County to Clay and Noxubee. Several broke poles, a lot of wire down, in a lot of our areas, a lot of pine trees. They snapped, tore the wires down.
Around 13,000 families were without power. Wall says the strong wind gust and rain from this weekend swept through in a similar fashion to Hurricane Katrina back in 2005.
Came through kind of the central part of our service territory and branched out, and we saw the same kind of damage, just not to the extent. Trees on line, uprooted trees, limbs, just about the same way Katrina did, just not on that level.
4 county crews worked throughout Saturday and into the night, with most households restored by Sunday evening.
It was kind of a madhouse for the first couple of hours, and then we got everybody lined out, and it started coming together pretty quick.
Today, there were currently 100 Natchez Trace Electric Power customers who are still without power. Edmondson says those families should have their power back on by the end of today. Fort County Electric has sent a crew to assist Prentiss County Electric Power Association to restore their power efforts.
Ghosts, goblins, and ghouls are taking over the Starkville Sportsplex, and there may be a TV anchor or meteorologist or two there as well. We check in when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Halloween is Thursday, but some kids and most likely some grown-ups are getting a head start tonight. It's the Starkville Parks Department's annual Hail-O-Ween at the Sportsplex, and our own Andrea Self is getting into the spirit. She joins us live from the Candy Fueled Fun. Andrea?
Joey, it's the Good Witch. I'm here. I'm back at the Halloween Festival at the Starkville Sportsplex here in Starkville, and a lot more company than when we joined you at 5 o'clock. We want to talk real quickly with someone from Starkville Parks and Recreation who helps put all of this together. Gary Logan is here with his little friend. This is Graham, 4-year-old Graham.
Yep.
So tell me, is this the crowd that you all expected?
I'd be lying if I didn't say it's a little bigger, but that's great. It's great weather and lots of candy. Free candy brings them out, and yeah, we're in a great location, so we're excited to have this many folks with us, a couple thousand people, which is great. So
I think the greatest thing about this that families love is this is somewhere safe that they know they can bring their kids with so many things to do.
yeah, I'm a big fan of trunk or treating. You can get about 30 candy booths in an hour instead of trick or treating where you might get 5 in an hour.
Right.
But here we also provide the bounce house, we provide the petting zoo, all that extra stuff. So yeah, we love the format, and obviously people are responding to it or coming out to see us. So we're happy. Couldn't be happier with how everything's turned out.
Well, thanks for extending the invitation. We're having a ball so far.
Thank God. I got to credit my staff, Lisa Cox, and the folks, Kenesha Hendricks, the folks that are helping put it on. I was out on paternity leave, so they're doing the hard work. I'm just here with my little boy.
Well, y'all done a great job. Thanks so much.
Thank y'all for being here.
All right, this goes on until 7:30, the Halloween Festival at the Starkville Sportsplex. We're live right now, and I think the mad scientist is here.
Hey, they let me out of the weather lab to come out here today. So we'll talk about weather coming up next. So far, so good tonight.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Hey, we are back here in Starkville Live. Look at this great crowd behind me. Everybody lining up for a lot of candy, a lot of treats. No tricks from Mother Nature this year, at least not tonight. Now, we will have some tricks coming up on actual Halloween, which is Thursday, but for this evening, things couldn't be any better here in Starkville at the Sportsplex. Folks coming on out, ghosts and goblins. I mentioned earlier I saw a big slice of pizza walk on by. A lot of folks enjoying their evening here. So let's talk a little bit about the weather. This is our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. We have overcast conditions across the entire region. Temperatures are in the 60s and upper 50s across our region right now. It's been that way basically the entire day with a lot of overcast conditions. As we look ahead at the next couple of days here, hopefully the weather computer will advance. Work with me, Mother Nature, work with me. Is it going to go? The suspense is killing you and killing me at the same time, folks. But you know what? We are going to advance the weather computer, and there we go, just like that. We got the graphics to advance. No tricks from Mother Nature for the weather, but we have tricks and goblins in the computer. All right, so for the next couple of days, we do envision some better rain chances coming our way, and there's actually a low-end severe weather threat Wednesday night, Thursday morning. That would be primarily wind at this point. Can't rule out an isolated tornado with the setup, but wind is generally going to be the main cause of concern. In addition to heavy rain, maybe another 1 to 3+ inches of rain around here. So rain chances really going up Wednesday and Thursday, and then quiet weather returns. So tomorrow, mostly cloudy probably. Temperatures hopefully getting back into the low 70s, but a better chance of rain Wednesday night and Thursday morning with this next system coming our way. And that frontal boundary right there could give rise to some of those stronger storms. We're hopeful that a lot of the wet weather can end before trick-or-treating on Thursday, before high pressure comes on in. So we're currently in the upper 50s in most spots around here, down into the 50s tonight. Highs tomorrow anywhere from the upper 60s to mid 60s to low 70s, depending on the situation. Here's your AccuWeather 70 forecast. We're looking at 74 Wednesday, 71 falling temperatures Thursday, so that's 71 in the morning. By trick-or-treating Thursday, probably down into the 40s. So this is a great night to come out for trick-or-treating. Much better than Thursday evening. And then as you can see, there are lots of sunshine for the weekend with even a frost threat coming our way. So pretty good weather out here in Starkville this evening. We'll send it back to you over there in Columbus.
Mississippi State takes on Arkansas in hopes of finding its second SEC victory Joe Moorhead talks about the losing streak when we come back.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Mississippi State football with a 3-5 overall record on the season, with only one of those three being an SEC win. Looking ahead, the Bulldogs with only 3 SEC matchups left. We've got Arkansas, Alabama, and Ole Miss, each one more critical than the one before it. And if Mississippi State hopes to turn the season around, they're going to have to get all 3. If they hope to make a bowl game, they'll have to get a couple more. And if they hope to snap a 4-game losing streak, well, then it starts at Arkansas. Arkansas presenting the perfect opportunity for the Bulldogs to do so. The Razorbacks sit at the bottom of the SEC with an 0-5 conference record. Head coach Joe Moorhead addressed the losing sit earlier. Here's what he had to say.
All of us players, coaches, everyone in the program, when you make the decision, come to the SEC and the SEC West, you understand it's going to be, small margin of error in the best brand of college football in the country. So, we have a tough schedule. I think I saw one place where it was rated, third toughest in the country. You have some teams that we played early on playing well, but we can't look past anything than what we're going to do at practice tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, then on Thursday, and on Friday, and playing with great effort and executing well. So I don't think. You say maybe there's a cumulative effect that it wears on the kids because they're young, psychologically a little bit, but they, this day and age with technology and phones and things like that, they have short memories. So we put it to bed on Sunday and we moved on to Arkansas.
Coming off a bye week, Ole Miss with its first ranked test since late September. The Rebels head east to face 11th ranked Auburn. Ole Miss doing well going toe-to-toe with ranked opponents this season. The Rebels with that fighting chance against 23rd ranked California. And the Rebels even put up 31 on second-ranked Alabama. Ole Miss head coach Matt Luke says this time, the time off helped the Rebels prepare for that extra challenge ahead.
No, they're really good against the run. They're good against the pass too. That's the the defenses that you play in this league. They're good at everything. But again, we got to be who we are. And I think formationally we can do some things, try to cause them some problems. But you just got to go do what you do. I mean, again, they are very good, but they're a good defense no matter what you do.
Even the rain and schedule changes could not stop our area teams from playing another week of fantastic football. With playoffs on the horizon, teams pulling out all the stops to secure wins. Here's the End Zone's week top 5 from the End Zone.
WCBI Sports End Zone Top 5 Plays of the Week are brought to you by your local Subway restaurants.
All right, starting out at number 5, it was the third quarter, Heritage versus Washington. The game over already. You can't slow down the Patriots. This is Reed Huskinson with a grown man carry, fighting those tacklers and picking up a huge gain for the Patriots. The Pats go on to get the win 51-0, an undefeated 11-0 season. Number 4, the Green Wave, not scared of the rain. They only welcome it. Paid off that first play. Dontarius Cannon breaking through those defenders, sliding into the end zone. Another win in the books for West Point. Number 3, one of our game of the weeks, TCPS with the fumbled snap, and Smithville going to act fast with the recovery. That's Chandler Woodham on the recovery for the touchdown. Smithville got their wish, the win against TCPS. And number 2, another game of the week for us. It was Noxubee against Choctaw County. A fantastic. You'll have to tune in later tonight at 10 for more of that. And then number 1 was the Itawamba AHS Indians. Unfortunately, we don't have time, so make sure you tune in at 10 for all of the top 5 plays. That's it for sports. More after the break.
All right, Courtney, busy time in the sports world, but
yes.
I think the big question here is, do you think they're going to bring us any candy from Starkville?
I honestly don't think so. I think they're going to hoard it all for themselves. And honestly, I almost can't blame them.
Yeah, I can't either. I'm wondering what kind of good candy we're handing out there, too.
Well, you don't want to put candy around me all day.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us, everyone.